Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live. Maybe not live. You could be watching this. We're listening to this at any time. It's Third and Atlantic with your host, Joe. That's me. And some guy, Ed. That's him over there.
Hola. Hello.
This is your favorite podcast that is recorded today on this channel. How you doing, Ed?
Yeah, not too bad. It was nice having some Thanksgiving games to watch on a Thursday, and I'll have to stay up until 1:30. But good thing it was only 2 games that we got to watch instead of 3, right?
You suck and they suck. No, the NFL suck for this. Although I understand, health and safety wise and blah 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 and all this, but I know who's feeling pissed that this game happened. This game didn't happen. The Broncos, who had all their QBs go down and then still had to play a game, whereas the Ravens had the 2 running backs go down and their starting QB and don't have to play until at least they get their 2 running backs back. So they're feeling hard done by. Everyone else who's already had to go through this and had to play their games without their starting players got hard done by. And they're angry.
It is what it is. They knew the rules coming into it. As we were discussing before, there's a reason why the Raven, I can't remember exactly why the nuances of it. Mike Florio was talking about it, or I can't remember.
It's because they keep every day they have new ones, so they're trying to stop the outbreak before they can let the game run. But still,
yeah, whatever. So there is a specific reason, and it does follow guidelines why that game was postponed, where other games were allowed to go on. For example, as Joe just mentioned, the Bronco games was allowed to go on. Yeah, I mean, I do now sort of do feel bad for the Steelers because now it's sort of the 3rd or 4th time, and it's gone from a Thursday game to a Wednesday game. So a 6-day flip. And the main reason I'm worried about it is just because of the return, the game after they will play. So it will be 2 or 3 days, and then it will play their game after. I don't mind the fact that it's been pushed back, but it's more the knock-on effect it has for the game after, because they've played on Wednesday. Then they're going to play again on when did the Steelers play? Steelers are due to play, unless they've changed it. Yeah, okay, if they changed it to Monday.
Like the Monday or Tuesday now.
That would make a lot more sense. If it's gone now from a Wednesday, if the game is now, the second game has gone from a Saturday to a Monday, Tuesday, that makes a bit more sense. But for something like the NFL, which is so stuck in routine in a good way, and whenever there is a midweek game, you're prepared for it. This is, I do feel a bit bad for them, but they're the big boy Steelers, undefeated. Like this should be nothing for them, right, Joel?
Yeah, but we're undefeated because we turn up, we follow the COVID protocols every week, every day. We put our best foot forward into continuing the season in the way the NFL wanted and providing good role models to the community on what and how you should handle your job in this COVID time. However, we keep facing teams that get rewarded. Get
out of here. Now you're
for breaking the rules and catching COVID, and the NFL now suddenly has a vendetta against us, even though we are just going by their rules and keeping clean.
So speaking of these big boy Steelers, I'm looking at. I just brought up the games that they played. So they're 10-0, right?
Yep.
How many statement victories did they have in that 10-0? And I can only see 2, and both of them were 3 and 4 point games. I can only see 2 massive victories.
Statement victories.
Like victories against. No, because
people turn up against us. We're their Super Bowl.
What's your biggest win? What is your biggest? Who's the contender that you beat this year? Who's the big win that you've had this year? What's the big win you've had this year? The
Ravens.
That's one, and the second one I would say is the Titans. Those are your 2 big wins, yeah. Those are your 2 big wins. Apart from that, what you fucking played the Giants and the Cowboys and the fucking Bengals and the Jags. Like, well done.
Yeah, the Cowboys played us tough. The Bengals were good at the time.
My point is,
no, you're going name brand. You're not going by actual play on the field, and I'm not having that.
How many of the teams are going to be? How many of those teams I've just mentioned are going to be in the playoffs? Apart from
but they came up to play us. They were playing well against us. They weren't playing well against you. And they still
I'm talking about the Ravens and the Titans. I'm talking about the Ravens and the Titans.
Yeah, I'm talking about everyone else. I'm talking about the Eagles. The Browns were destroyed. The Browns have played well.
The
Browns are 8-3.
You're not going to win the Super Bowl by beating. You're not winning the Super Bowl by beating the Browns and the Texans and the Broncos.
What's the Browns' record? Because they have a playoff record.
Yeah, I'm not buying the Browns. They're going to get smacked as soon as they get into the playoffs.
They have a playoff record. The Ravens have a playoff record.
Browns are going to get smacked as soon as they make the playoffs.
Titans have a playoff record.
That's the
The
two I'm saying
Eagles
to
don't
you.
have a playoff record, but they played us tough. The Texans are
My
had
point
good
is,
people.
you ain't beating any of the two elite teams that you played. To be fair, you did beat them, which is why I am giving credit. But you did not smack up the Titans or the Ravens. Both you played close. That is my point at the end of the day. That's what I'm trying to say.
Teams play us close because they come to us playing
I'm
the
not
best game
talking
of
about
their
the
season.
shit teams, Joel. Not at the end of when it comes to
No,
winning the
because
Super Bowl. No one cares about the shit teams.
people care about the teams that are placed in front of them. We don't
You're not
decide the
listening to what I'm
schedule.
saying.
You listen to what I'm saying.
I get what you're
They
saying.
play us well.
Yes, because we were one of the. Wait, no, we didn't. We didn't play.
They come in thinking that we are the best game they're going to have this season, and they play well. That is not our fault. We beat them all.
How do you feel about the Steelers winning the whole thing?
Well, it's fine.
So it's fine. So it's fine.
That time will come when it comes.
Okay, so I don't know if I thought a team was 10-0 and they were this big ass team, I would think you had a bit more confidence with them.
See, this is why you can never be the Patriots. You take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time, one opponent at a time.
That's fine. The
Patriots were a dynasty because every week they took their opponent as they came. You too busy looking at name brands and fantasies and big billboards and records and blah blah blah. We just take the next team coming, we play them, we'll see what happens. The next team, we'll play them, see what happens.
Okay. So is this what the Steelers did last time they were in the playoffs when they played the Jags? Is this what happened? You know, looking at each game as it comes, is this exactly what happened? Just remind me, because when the Steelers supposed to play the Patriots, wasn't Le'Veon Bell and all the Steelers going, oh yeah, no, it's us against the Patriots, it's fine. During the playoffs, did this happen? What did happen? Tell me.
Just like winners, they may take a loss, they learn from it, and they move on. See, if we look at it,
what a bunch of excuses.
Both the teams in that game. No. You're saying excuses. We learned a lesson. We lost. We learned a lesson. Let's look at both those teams, us and the Jags. What happened after that?
What do you mean?
There's a big gap now, isn't there, Ed? There's a big gap now, isn't there?
I told you what happened after that. I told you numerous times.
Everyone got fired. Everyone sucked, and then
that was the year after.
And now we're different. Guess what? Like I said, after that game, the two teams went like this. They went like this.
That's fine. The situation we are talking about right now has got nothing to do with what happened after then.
You brought them.
I told you what happened.
No, it does have.
We were comparing like for like situations. After that, I told you what happened. Blake Bortles' run came to an run. It wasn't even a run. It was a
excuses.
It was a brisk walk. So you're comparing Ben Roethlisberger to Blake Bortles.
No, what I'm comparing is the team trajectories, the focus, winners and losers. That's what I'm comparing. I'm comparing what a winner does to what a loser does. A loser may win a game, but they suck as an organization. And since then, they haven't been good. A winner may lose a game, but the organization still stands and is still historically great. Thank you.
Don't use this narrative of, oh no, we're going to take it one game at a time when you didn't do this before. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we didn't do it before and we lost. Guess what? We're doing it now and we haven't lost. Now what's the point?
My point was, how do you feel about the Steelers in the Super Bowl? And you did not feel confident. So you're just deflecting the question.
I never said it for confident. I said we're taking it one game at a time, one victory at a time, 1 week at a time, one team at a time. Very simple. That's what winners do. I learned from the Patriots. There's a reason they spent 20 years near the top, or 10 years, really.
But you could still say when the Patriots are doing well, yes, I feel confident with the Patriots when it gets to the playoffs because they do.
Yeah, other people said that. The Patriots didn't. The Patriots didn't say that.
You do not work for the Steelers organization. You can talk about the Steelers. You do not work for the organization, Joel.
We are all one. It takes all of us. We are all one.
Because the organization. You're a fan.
All one. We are all one.
Take off your fan hat. Take off your fan hat. As an analyst, let's say as an analyst, how do you feel the Steelers? What is your prediction for the Steelers in the playoffs? That's my simple question.
I don't predict. They play very well, and we'll see how far they go.
All right. We're not getting anywhere with this. So I'm just going to leave it. So it tells me all I need to know. You don't feel confident in your team. That's it. Cool. Next.
They just are a very good team.
Overall, last week, week 12, the scores were 9-6. I took week 12. Luckily enough, the Ravens-Steelers game didn't matter too much at the end of the result. So yeah, got that win. So 2-1. I'm 1-2. Your 7 picks went 4-3, excluding the Steelers Ravens pick. So it doesn't matter. I guess at this point. Your
Well,
3
we're,
losses.
we're, we're recording this. We're still the fact that we are recording this and the Steelers and Ravens
That's
game
true,
still
actually.
hasn't happened is actually a madness.
So you went 4-3 of your picks. I went 6-2 of my picks. My 2 losses were the Raiders against the Falcons, and then the Cowboys against Washington. That was my last pick. It's whatever.
Whatever.
So, and your 3 losses were Cards against the Pats, Panthers against the Vikings, and Rams against the Niners. And I must say, you know what? Considering all the upsets that happened, also there was a lot of tight games and upsets. The fact that you only got 3 wrong and I only got 2 wrong, I think that's quite good, to be fair to us. I think a lot more people had other games, but anyway.
It was painful watching some of them, knowing that your pick was leading coming up into the last seconds of the game, and maybe one last drive, or in the Patriots case, they're literally the last kick because they missed the field goal before. The Panthers and the Vikings missed the field goal before it happened, and then they went down and scored a touchdown. Like, I'm actually fuming how my one's lost. Like, it's actually hurting me.
I was going to say, watching the 6 o'clock games, because obviously I had the Jags game up, Jags-Browns, which we're going to get a little bit into once we make our picks for week 13. And watching Red Zone, I'm like, oh my gosh, like all my games are doing so shit. And then Vikings. So Red Zone popped up when the Vikings returner fumbled the ball, and I was fuming. I was like, what the fuck is he doing? What is going? So pissed off. And then fair play to him. He caught the touchdown at the end to win the game. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And then Pat's making that field goal at the end. Lovely jubbly. Loved it. But yeah, I felt that you were definitely
absolutely disgusting.
You were definitely in the driver's seat for the 6 o'clock games. And Chargers, I thought Chargers could sneak it, but then they made some shitty play calls at the end.
I was in the driver's seat, and they all just seemed to lose. I got maybe 1 or 2 wins out of that, but then the rest of them, they all seemed to lose. And at the end of the Sunday, it looked bleak. By the time I went to bed, I should say, because I went to bed early, because it looked so bad to me.
Yeah, I did want to stay up and watch the. I don't know why, because it felt inevitable watching it. Yeah, no, not Packers Bears. No. Chiefs Bucks.
Oh yeah.
It felt inevitable, but I still wanted to watch it anyway. As soon as it got to, I think, first half, I was like, oh, I've had enough. I know how this will end. Switched off.
No, so like the reason I feel like the reason people tuned into that so heavily was obviously they are huge names, but Brady at the Patriots and then Pat Mahomes at the Chiefs is a whole different matchup. Like, that one was tight played. Belichick doing his thing to kind of keep them not low scoring, but he's doing the best job to defend them, and it just worked. To make those games are hugely interesting. This one, 200 yards in the first quarter by one wide receiver. The wide receiver, granted, but still.
Going on to that point, actually, I think both of us and a lot of people overestimated the Bucs defense, or maybe it was just that the Chiefs offense are just so good against that specific Bucs defense that it made it lopsided.
Here's the thing. You know what I think it really was? Is because they put Tyreek Hill, they put him 1-on-1 with their corner. And I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they didn't give him safety help. I think that's all ego, because Tyreek just ran past him time after time after time. You saw it by the halftime, not even by the second half. He was on the bench looking dejected. Like, it was mad, but it got so bad that they actually took their foot off the gas and just let the Bucs roll in towards the end of the game and make it look tight.
He did the I think on the sideline he did the Shannon Sharp, call the National Guard, they need help.
Funnily enough, as soon as he did that, they stopped. They pretty much stopped scoring. And were like, yeah, we don't need to do anymore.
Or went to Andy Reid. It's like, Andy Reid, allow him. I was listening to some analysts talking, and they were, I think it may have been on PFT or something. They were talking about how the cornerback for the guy who was on one-on-one coverage against Tyreek Hill was more a physical receiver, and they have no idea why they ran that man-to-man with that specific receiver. I mentioned it to you before with Jalen Ramsey against Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill just killed Jalen Ramsey. Maybe it was one of Jalen's off games. I think it was one of the first game last year with Nick Foles. Tyreek Hill killed us. I guess you have to find those really quick corners to be able to at least help and then get a safety.
Bro, you need
A
safety
free
over the top,
safety. You
man.
need a free
You need
safety
safety
who's
over the top.
able to cover ground and a quick safety there as well. But a quick corner there as well. But that's so hard to find, I guess.
You know what? I don't even think you need a kind of quick safety. I just think you just need to understand that you are going to need to double him. I understand that there are a lot more weapons because obviously towards the end they just started backing up and then Kelsey was just eating underneath. But someone's going to kill you in the offense.
You
You
just,
can't let it be Tyreek Hill running past you.
the reason I say a quick free safety is you need him to help avoid a 50-yard run and make it a 20-yard run by getting from one side of the field to the other if he is on the other side. But yeah, I mean, that would require him to catch Tyreek Hill.
So second down here, head to head. Not the most important part of the show, but the big part of the show, how it goes. We each take turns making a pick, draft style. Whoever takes one team in the matchup, the other person has to, by force, by law, these are the rules.
By force.
You have to take the other team by force. So as you won last week, Ed, winner stays on. You've got the first pick up and coming.
Week 13 schedule on Sunday. We have got in the early games, Jags Vikes, Browns Titans, Raiders Jets, Bengals Dolphins, Colts Texans, Lions Bears, and Saints Falcons. For the late Sunday night games, we've got Giants Seahawks, Rams Cards, Pats Chargers, Eagles Packers. And then on Sunday night football, we have Broncos Chiefs. And then Monday night football, we've got Bills 49ers. Now, the Ravens and Steelers games have been moved. So we've got Washington and Steelers on Monday. So for us, it'll be Monday evening, about 10 o'clock. In the US, it will be about 10, take away 6, about 4. So like a late afternoon kickoff. Mm-hmm. And then on Tuesday, we've got Cowboys Ravens, which is Tuesday night football game. So that's the schedule. A couple, I feel, sure bets for teams you would want, but then there are no sure bets in the NFL, as we found out this week.
Mm-hmm.
Or as we already know, there is never an easy bet.
Even if they're leading in the fourth quarter with like 10 seconds left.
And it'll be interesting now how both of us will assess the Ravens and the Steelers going forward for the Week 13 games, although we will still probably pick both of them, but it just depends on where we have them in our rankings, how much we think.
I think it's the kind of trying to predict injuries is where we're going with this. Because otherwise we know who we want in each matchup pretty obviously, but it's if important players get injured is what we're scared of.
And to be fair, at the end of the day, there could be another Broncos situation where something happens 5-6 hours from now.
The whole team gets wiped out, mate. That's the night before they leave for the actual game.
So, with the number one pick, I am taking the Kansas City Chiefs over the non-QB Denver Broncos.
No way.
Oh my God, that's such a shock. Like, how are you going to take the Chiefs? That's just so shocking. I mean, it's the Chiefs.
Can't believe you've done this.
Do we need to go into it?
Yeah, so let's actually go into it because the QBs
I'm not going
should
to
be
talk
back.
about it. You can go.
Yeah, okay, I'll go. The QBs should be back for the Broncos.
Well, whoop-de-doo, what Drew Lock and Blake Bortles? Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, so like I was saying, they will be back, but that makes absolutely pretty much no difference whatsoever. The only problem is, do the Chiefs really want to win this game? Obviously, they want to win the game. The question is, are they going to pay attention for long enough to win the game? Of course they are, because they can rack up 200 yards from one guy in a one quarter and then just not play the rest of the game and let the defense ride it out. The other thing is, who on the Broncos would really scare you in this situation that would really bring an upset? Oh, don't worry, I'll answer that for you. No one.
It's a bit harsh. Like,
okay,
I was shitting on the Broncos a little bit. That's a bit harsh.
Melvin Gordon.
I still want to show love to my boy AJ Bouye, former Saxon.
Oh, he's on there.
Yeah, he's on there.
He made
it great. Don't chat shit. He made a great play on the weekend. Well, so it was Taysom's pick. I'm not sure if you saw it.
Of course not. It's
Uh,
Taysom Hill.
did you see the pick? What happened in the pick?
No.
So AJ deflected a pass to a wide receiver. So deflected a pass.
Mm,
Ball jumped up in the air, and one of the other Broncos defense caught it. So
mm,
that came off at AJ incompletion or pass breakup, but whilst the ball was in the air. But yeah, he isn't the old AJ who was locking up AB. Yeah, as we mentioned, their QBs are all out. Philip Lindsay is questionable, saying that Philip Lindsay hasn't been what he was his rookie year. Yeah, Bradley Chubb.
there we
I
go.
like Bradley Chubb, but anyway.
Yeah, and he's the focal point of their defense. Obviously, they got Joel Casey in the middle, who
Yes,
you
your
know
boy's
is
there now.
yeah,
Yes,
my boy.
Jarrell's there now.
He is. What I'm gonna say is he's a great interior tackle, 100%. Is he Aaron Donald?
I mean, who is?
There we go. So I think that's really what you need. If you need Chubb, what you need is Von there on the other side, and then Casey can have free reign in the middle and actually do a lot. That could do, I think, could do a lot of damage. But them not having Von on the other side has created a massive imbalance in their
Yeah.
kind of attacking of a QB.
And I do feel just the Von Miller at the start of the season was just so annoying because I love it when you've got the up and coming pass rusher, and the other side you've got the younger pass rusher. I love that dynamic between a veteran and sort of the student, so to speak, because we had
Yeah.
that for 1 year with Calais Campbell and Josh Allen. Broncos were supposed to have it with Chubb and Von Miller. Yes, annoying when that doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be interested to see what your first pick. I think I know what it should be, but who's your first pick, Joe?
No, we always know what it's gonna be. I think there's like two or three.
Yeah, so do I.
I think no one,
I've got 3 down.
two.
I've got 3 more down in my top tier.
Okay, maybe three. Okay, what you can well three. One is dependent on some results, but for the most part, I'm gonna stick with this rule because it's done me well and it's pretty much been an easy win all season. So with my first pick, I am taking the Raiders at the Jets. Once again, I don't know why I didn't think about this. Always bet against the Jets. Easy wins.
I'm going to let you talk about that game. Or is that all you're going to say? Then I'll go on a little more.
Because I don't care about the game. All I know
Cool.
is that the Jets are playing and they are actively losing so far. So yeah.
So I said to you, I feel the Raiders are this year's Titans in terms of I feel Raiders are a Titans-esque team, whereas the Titans have, I think, a little bit of a better O-line who can pass protect a bit better. I feel Raiders have better receivers, but they have the same philosophy in terms of running the ball, playing a little bit of Titans like to do a bit more play action. Raiders like to air it out a little bit more. I feel like the same team. They're a similar team in terms of both of them will turn up against big opponents, sort of what the Titans were doing last year, which I was saying to you, something I'm going to talk about every week. I had the Titans doing really well in the playoffs last year because they beat the big teams when it mattered in the regular season last year, and they would lose to shitty teams. And I feel the Raiders are doing the same thing. They will hold in the big matchups, they'll hold teams close like they did with the Chiefs second time around, or beat them against the Chiefs again second time around, first time around, second time around, first time they beat them first time. And could this potentially be a banana skin? Could it? I mean, they did get
Yeah,
smacked up by the
but they
Falcons. They got smacked up by the Falcons last
yeah,
week.
that was the banana skin. That was the banana skin.
That is fair. I'm just hoping all year that the Jets will get a win, just so the Jets can slide up into that number 1 pick of the draft. So I'm just that's just where a little bit of hope out of me is coming, and I'm just being a bit pessimistic about being a bit optimistic that Jets can somehow squeeze a win. But I get what you're saying. Raiders are definitely favourites, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. I'm just saying.
They can't do that twice in a row because it was surprised that they lost to the Falcons as bad as they played.
When it comes to the big teams, I think they'll hold them close and win, and I think they'll do enough to make the playoffs because the AFC isn't what the AFC is a bit more competitive than the NFC playoff races. I think they will make the playoffs. They could have a run, but I wouldn't be surprised if we beat the Jets. Which sounds like a hot take, but I don't mean for it to sound a hot take. But I'm just gonna put that out there. Anyway,
Mhm.
because we've always gone against the Jets, and rightly so. And I definitely would have had the Raiders as well, but they were a bit lower down. I'm just waffling now. So anyway, the pick I thought you were going to make is I'm taking the Packers over the Eagles.
Yeah, that was gonna be that was gonna be my second pick. To be fair, I just couldn't let you get away with me having the Jets, so I just had to put me out of my misery, kind of thing.
I respect that. But yeah, Eagles are just looking really bad, just so bad. Also, I just want to say something as well. Doug Peterson, after he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles that year, do you know he released a book calling, I can't remember the exact name of it, but he released a book thinking he's Billy Big Bollocks all of a sudden. But yeah, I mean, credit to him, he did win a Super Bowl, but I think it was something about the art of winning or something super generic.
No way did he actually say that.
What was the actual name of the book? Fearless. Fearless is Eagles coach Doug Marone's story of how the Eagles became Super Bowl champions. This is an inspirational story from Ultimate Underdog Team and its coach. He released this after they won the Super Bowl. Like maybe at the end of your career or whatnot, you can sort of stay this and then you'll have a bit more perspective on your career. But Fearless is saying, Carson Wentz, you're not playing well. I'm going to drop you and play my backup QB. But I think that would be a fearless thing to do now.
All right, I'm toying with some picks,
Yeah,
but
I've
I
got
think
two.
I have to.
I've got two that I would want.
I think I have to go for it off the strength of the last week. Let me just check their last week's stats to 100% make sure, because whew, no, okay, I'm calling an audible. I'm calling an audible. Yeah, this has got to be done. Calling an audible, and I'm picking the Seahawks at the Giants.
That was one. Yeah.
I was, there are some very tempting ones out there, but you can't lose focus when injuries pop up, especially to a starting QB
Yeah.
that is a kind of a middle of the
Yeah.
table QB. If he's keeping someone else off the bench, on the bench, you have to ask yourself how bad really is that person that has to step up.
I did think the Giants could win the NFC East, but I sort of was like what Daniel Jones was doing past couple of games and what
Mm-hmm.
Giants were doing with him as a player, being able to run the ball a bit more. But now with him out, let's see how Colt McCoy will do, I guess.
Big Colt.
Now, with my third pick, you're going to love this.
Oh, don't do it.
Yeah, of course I'm going to do it. I'm taking the Steelers over Washington. Of course I'm going to do it.
After all that talking, you nonsense child, man.
That's fine. Steelers can beat these shitty teams. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big boy teams. But
You're waffling.
I'm not
Washington has a
waffling.
great defense.
That's my whole point.
Washington has a great defense. Washington has a great defense.
So you're saying, do you want me to take
great
Washington
D-line.
then? Do you want me to take Washington? Do you want me to give you the Steelers? Yeah, okay. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm just saying it's a hard game. The pass rush of the defense has actually played Washington has played very well. I think they're number one defense.
Yeah. Are they?
No, I think the Saints are, but they are number one in a lot of like pass rushing categories, QB hitting categories. Because number one, I think it's the Saints. Steelers is up there because of takeaways. It's a good defense. Do I rate the offense? No, but Scary Terry has been doing his thing. And so much he was made to be a captain because of his heart. He did a lot. He did the DK chase down. Obviously, it wasn't as long, but he did the DK chase down and stopped a TD.
Yeah. Saved 4 points for his team. That was big.
Against the Cowboys, was it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, coming off a week, if you think coming off a buzz like that, it can either go two ways. You either get slumped or you keep building on that and becoming a great team. But obviously, we don't want that. We want the Steelers to win, even though you pick them. You snake.
When you were talking about it, it sort of reminded me a little bit of the Niners defense or the Niners team a little bit, where they didn't have necessarily the best offense, but their they had a lot of talent on that defense, a lot of first round picks, a lot of blue chip players on their defense. And I really like that about Washington moving forward with Ron Rivera. I really love Ron Rivera as a coach, Riverboat Ron, and what he's building there in Washington. Just having just a whole reset of the franchise in terms of just the disgusting things that came out with their backroom staff and some of the people higher up in the organization used to do from a female perspective or other ingoings within the organization. I do like how Washington's trending towards the future. On a couple of stats on Washington's defense, they are 4th in yards allowed. Can you guess who 1, 2, and 3 are? I think all 3 of them are easy, actually.
Saints.
Yep.
Steelers.
Yeah, they're 3rd. Who's 2nd?
Titans.
No, Titans are way lower than you think.
Yeah, I'm just throwing a random one in there.
They're bottom 10. Second
Chiefs.
is Rams.
Rams. Oh,
yeah, makes sense. I mean, Rams have been carrying their defense has been carrying that team, and then Indianapolis, who were doing really well at the start of the year, are 5th, and then San Francisco after. Let me check. I was just going to check sacks because that's something you spoke about. Oh, if I do this. TOFL rushing penalties. Okay, I'm just searching sacks and that's it for stats. Oh, wow. And as you were saying about sacks, so average sacks per game, Washington are 3rd as well. Can you guess 1 and 2 for that?
It has to be Saints and Steelers.
No, so Pittsburgh is 1st with 3.8. Philly is 2nd with 3.3.
Oh, yes. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I don't know why I said Saints. Yeah, I'm saying the Saints because they're a good defense. But
yeah, so they got better. They've got a better overall defense, yeah.
Sacks is all Philly has.
So there's only 5 teams with more than 3 sacks a game: Saints, Rams, Washington, Philly, and Pittsburgh.
Is there
the eye test?
Pittsburgh.
Fair play. The eye test when we have watched Washington, we're like, yeah, their defense does look really good, and some of the stats do back up as well. So I get what you mean in terms of feeling, hey, maybe if Big Ben gets pressured, there could be a couple throws going the wrong way.
But to be fair, this season, he's been pressured a lot, and those throws have been coming out and destroying defenses, destroying coverages. So
I think low-key he may prefer the receivers he has now compared to a couple of years ago, because I do think they're better from a short distance compared to longer distances. I do like what they can do from short routes in comparison to longer routes. Anyway, that's my 3rd pick. Your 3rd pick, yes.
My pick looking scary. Ooh, scary. I think I have to pull the trigger and say I'm taking the Titans against the Browns.
I wanted it, but I don't think I think it'll be down a couple more picks.
Yeah, I think so too, but I have to get a couple of my sleepers in a bit early, assuming as you're taking my teams. So this game, the name of the game right here is ball control. 2 of the better teams this season on running the ball and holding it for a long time. Okay. But one of them obviously has a better passing game coming off of it in the Titans. And their defense at the beginning of the year was one of the scarier looking ones, from what I remember when doing a bit of research for the Steelers game. Yeah, so they had a scary defense. They're better at ball control. Derrick Henry obviously gets worse and worse for the opposing team as the game goes on. If this game goes into overtime, Titans win. If it ends before overtime, I can still see the Titans winning, and then holding out basically to the point where, because I feel Baker can't do as much as Tannehill can for some reason, even though he was the bigger hyped player.
So I watched Jags Browns, and I did not leave that game thinking, wow, Browns can actually make the run in the playoffs. Like, they look so good. No. Where the Titans last year did really well on the back of having a solid defense and a really potent offense when needed, with Derrick Henry there and Ryan Tannehill off the play action.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't rate what the Browns were doing over the weekend. Baker had 2 or 3 really nice throws. I thought, wow, those were great throws. Mike Glennon had 3 or 4 of those throws as well. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And Baker did miss a couple really bad opportunities. Now, some people say, oh, he's definitely going to improve on that. That's fine. Those are easy throws that he'll make in the future. Others will look at it and say, how the fuck are you missing that? Though there were a couple wide open throws that weren't long distance, a very short to medium distance that he completely missed. And I told you I don't really rate Baker as a QB anyway. I see him in the Tannehill, Kirk Cousins bracket. Some people will take offense to it. Some say, yeah, that's where he should be. That's where I still see him. That's where I see him. Some people may see him a bit higher. I don't see that. Some people may see him a bit lower. I think that's a bit harsh. He's in the so it's Tannehill, Baker, Carr, Goff. They're all in that same bracket. I'd rather have Carr and Tannehill over the other two, but that's where I see Baker. I'm not buying that they can make too much of a big playoff run from what I saw against them over the weekend. So
is one thing I may have overlooked is Myles Garrett back for this game?
No, I was just checking, and no, he isn't. And another thing I was going to say on that as well was when I was saying about the Steelers, how they've got 2 big victories against the Titans and the Ravens. I'm looking at Browns wins, and their biggest win is against the Colts, but the Colts did also lose to the Jags. Their biggest win is the Colts. That's their biggest win.
We've been decent on the Colts this year, though. They have been an up and down team. But
Ravens smacked them up at the start of the year. They beat Washington, 3rd game of the week. Cool, fine.
But they didn't work it out until mid-season.
Still, they got smacked up by the Steelers. They were 1 possession game against the Browns. They got beaten by the Raiders. They scored 1 touchdown against the Texans. They beat the Eagles, which we both saw, and I thought even then they did not look good. Apart from their running game, they did not look good.
Yeah.
I'm just not buying that. They'll make it to the playoffs. Cool. They're not going to win a game in the playoffs. Mark it here, whatever. If they do win, whatever. You know what? Fuck it. Let me see. Playoff picture right now. Who would be their game? Playoff picture right now. Who would they play? Looking at the playoff picture right now, the Browns would be playing the Bills. Who would I take in the matchup? I'm definitely taking the Bills. That's just what I'm saying about the Browns. Yeah. So, with my 4th pick, I am taking the Ravens over the Cowboys.
I knew it.
So we've got the 2 teams. I've got the 2 teams playing on Wednesday, winning their game on the weekend or game next week.
Let's hope for your sake, and for my sake, you just got one of them right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just Cowboys. I had a little. So I was given last week, because you won, I had the final pick of all the games. I had to choose between the Cowboys and Washington. I thought, hey, Cowboys came off a semi-big win a little while back. Have they now clicked into gear? Because that's all the media had been talking about the whole month, which is how the Cowboys are absolute trash, how they're a joke with the team, etc. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. What we have to look out for, though, is if Lamar is back by then. Because he's not a close contact. He's actual COVID confirmed. So
at the end of the day, doesn't matter against the Cowboys. What I saw of them against Washington doesn't matter. On
Yeah, but
Thanksgiving, that's their one game to be the Dallas
yeah,
Cowboys. On Thanksgiving, America's team. That's their one day to be America's team. And they couldn't do it against the lowly football team.
yes, but then it's you got RG3 in there, and this if RG3 still has it.
You're rocking with RG3. That's calm. That's calm.
Okay.
Your
Well,
your fourth pick.
in that vein, with my lucky hat that I was wearing last time I won, so hopefully I'm getting some of that, good mojo back.
Seriously, is that why you're wearing the hat?
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing the hat.
Gosh. I forgot you're low key superstitious. I need to find ways to fuck with you on that. I forgot you're low key.
I'm not low key superstitious. I need a hat, and this one I did win in this one. Might as well, try and keep it going.
Too bad Giannis can't win in a Bucks jersey, but anyway.
I mean, he wins a lot of games in a Bucks jersey. He wins MVPs in a Bucks jersey. He wins Defensive Player of the Year in a Bucks jersey.
Too bad the last game of the season will always be a loss. So yeah, you were going to make your fourth pick.
I mean, at least it's a loss later in the Magic.
That's fine.
My fourth pick is the Bills at the 49ers. The 49ers are pretty good underdogs this year. But I believe that Josh Allen turns it back on again. And we've not got a game. And it's an easy win for me, hopefully.
I had this really down on my list just because I really like what the 49ers are doing. They've got a couple key pieces in the defense back. Rich Sherman's back. They will still be well coached no matter what. And the fact that they still got 4 or 5 wins considering all their injuries that they've had.
Yeah.
And again, saying all that, considering they made the Super Bowl last year with Jimmy G as their QB, if they had a bit more of a competent QB that could throw the ball a bit better.
And do you think that's Nick Mullins?
Hell no. Let's not go there. I remember, so a while ago, I heard Nana saying how we tend to overrate the nationally televised games, so the Monday night and the Thursday night. And I remember Nick Mullins having one of those games. I was like, oh my gosh, could Nick Mullins actually make it as a starting QB? I'm like, no, he was taking out the team for Jimmy G. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it'll be really fun if Kyle Shanahan can get a competent QB. Maybe the boys in Michigan can throw him a little bone. Maybe for like a late round pick. Maybe why not? Why not?
Chance. They're not that bad.
Matty's just sitting there doing fuck all in blue. Let's get him out to the West Coast.
They're not that badly run.
They just got rid of their gaffer. Like, why not?
This is true.
But yeah, Jalen Rose was talking a lot about how the Lions should have drafted Tua with their third pick. Like, he felt like Matthew Stafford obviously been an amazing servant to the club, and it's obviously time to move for the Lions to go in a different direction. Why did they not get Tua?
Yeah, I mean, Matt Stafford is not the direction that is hurting them. It was their coach. And the whole organization is kind of cursed.
That's fine, and they realized, fuck, we need to start again.
Yeah.
They can't start again with a 30-year-old Stafford, could they? It depends how he feels as well. He might want to be in a place where
if they got Tua, according to the curse that they're in, he would have never played it down because he would have still been injured.
He would have got one whiff of that cold because he spent his whole time in Hawaii and Alabama.
Then his hip would have
one whiff of that cold and be like, nah, gee, take me back to the south.
No, not even that. Because according to the thing, he might get injured. They might restart him, get rid of Stafford, and then he gets injured.
But anyway, enough of fantasy thinking. That was your fourth pick, yeah. I just had the game a little bit. I was just because I like the Niners a bit. I'm a bit higher on the Niners than you seem to be, or unless you're just higher on the Bills than I am.
I'm higher on the Bills than you are.
Okay, fair. With my fifth pick, it's between two, but I will take. Yeah, I'm going to take the Dolphins over the Bengals.
Oh, I was hoping you just slip one more. I heard you said, I was like, yeah, you're going to say the Dolphins, but I was hoping I would slip one more.
So we both assume that Fitz will be the starter because he started last week and, well, he should be started this week if he started last week and got a win. But then again, Fitz did win before their bye and then Tua became the starter thereafter. Yeah. I find it very confusing because obviously terminology, is Tua hurt? Is that why Fitz is starting? But I don't know why Dolphins keep on flip-flopping. Maybe they want to keep that internal, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm still taking that Dolphins defense over the Bengals, who probably are in full tank mode. I think the Bengals are really hoping they can get some protection for Joe Burrows in the draft. Third pick would be ideal for them, considering that QB will probably go 1 and 2. They can pick up the tackle from Oregon. So yeah, that's just I don't feel Bengals are going to get too many wins the rest of the year, if any.
Yep. Well, seeming as you took that, I'm gonna take. Unlike you, I'm gonna give you your team, and I'm gonna take the Vikings against the Jags.
I don't care.
Now the Jags are also in tank mode, so let's hope that they are still in it for Trevor. They're still trying. If all else fails, fail for Fields, and keep these losses going after your accidental win against the Colts.
So I could probably remember all the games off my head, but I want to make sure I get them exactly right and what happened. So let me go over what happened with the Jags. The Jags have been competitive in a lot of their games. They have been blown out in some, i.e. the Steelers, but they have been competitive in a lot of the games, which is what you, as a tanking team, that's the ideal situation. Get a very, very high pick, but still look competitive, and you have young players doing well, and something that I've mentioned before. Now, last week we 100% could have won the game against the Browns. The week before, we had a late minute drive that if we had a better QB than Jake Luton, we could have won against the Packers. We had a late minute drive. Part of it, I understand it's Packers consider they're playing the Jags. It's whatever. I'm not truly convinced by the Vikings, so I could still see an upset. We did beat the Colts week 1. I think we did catch them off guard. The Colts got better and better week 2, 3, 4, and they've had a couple of these weird losses in the season so far. Obviously, I would have picked the Vikings if it was the last pick, but I did not want to pick it because I'm not mad if I had the Jags. They still keep it close in tight games, I feel.
Yeah, but they keep it close just to make sure that they can make sure 100% that the team across the finish line that's leading is not them. So they keep it close to make sure they don't get any penalties for tanking. But we're going to keep it close. We're going to make sure you have the ball last, and we're going to maybe make it more than a score, just so happens to be more than a score at the end. So even if you don't get these points at the very last drive, we won't. But if by force we have to have the last drive, guess what we're not going to do? Score.
I think there was only 3 games where I feel we got truly battered. Steelers, Dolphins, third game of the season, and Lions. I think those are the only 3 games where I thought, oh, we got smacked up. All the others were one-possession games where I felt we kept it really close until a final possession. Chargers, I felt we kept it close near the end. Yeah, that's just my thoughts. That's why I didn't mind that I fell, and I'm glad you did not pick my next pick, which is I'm taking the Saints over the Falcons.
I didn't want to do this.
What?
After last week, I was okay with having the Falcons, but I didn't want to pick them, and I didn't want to pick the Saints because I'm pretty sure that would have sealed a Falcons win. So yeah, thanks for whatever way it went. I'm all right with this. I'm all right with giving this one away.
Fair. I don't think there's too much. Like Falcons, they had a big victory. Like, do you have any thoughts on the Falcons' performance last week?
Yeah, obviously, if they have a great performance, what tends to happen is the next week, it's terrible for these, emotional win teams, and that was a big emotional win for them. They came off a couple losses, came and won big according to the score, and the play on the field.
Yeah,
to be honest.
exactly.
So the next game normally is you normally lose for these emotional win teams, but the Saints is another one. They, even with the injury, the Breeze injuries and Taysom Hill starting, they've been chugging along. They've been winning games comfortably, not as comfortably as before. The scores are a bit tighter, but you've never really been one to say, okay, the Saints have lost this one, the Saints have lost this one, the Saints have lost this one. It's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I guess they'll squeak through if worst comes to worst.
Fair. So your pick now. This is your 6th pick.
3 games left, right?
1, 2, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Okay. I'm just gonna do
So
it.
just for, so the 4 games left are Colts, Texans, Lions, Bears, Rams, Cards, Pat, Chargers.
This might be the wrong pick.
Probably
This
is.
could very well be the wrong pick. But I'm staying clear of a couple of them. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have this team, but maybe I should. No, I'm calling an audible. I'm taking the Colts
Yeah, that
at
was
the
going to be mine.
Texans.
That was definitely going to be my next one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was literally avoiding games. I didn't know where to go. However, what popped into my head again was they got rid of Kenny Stills, the Texans did, and then their best receiver, Will Fuller, just got placed on. He just got a drug suspension, so a PED suspension. So who are they throwing to? Nobody knows. But guess who I'm not picking? The Texans.
I definitely wanted the Colts, and that was going to be my next pick. However,
Coming off a loss as well, right? So they normally play well at these games.
Texans are on a little run. But part of that run was caused because of Will Fuller, so that doesn't help.
A lot of that run.
So now we've got 3 games left, and of these 3 games,
I bet they wish they kept D-Hop now.
I mean, every sane person wished they kept D-Hop. Apart from, I'm not going to be harsh on Bill O'Brien. Apart from Bill O'Brien, every sane person thought they should have kept D-Hop. I don't think there was any other person in American football I thought, hey, that's a good idea. Let's trade D-Hop for David Johnson and a pick.
Terrible idea. Absolutely terrible.
I swear the Cardinals must have thought this is a joke. Like, what? You being serious? Or like they had to play it off. They'd be like, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You can't say yes too quickly. You have to be like, 7th rounder. That's a bit steep. Still.
You've thrown a pick as well. We don't think that I would. They could have got a better deal from so many other teams.
Literally anyone else.
The Vikings got a 1st-round pick for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, they would have got a better deal from the Texans. They literally just called them up and said, every one of our players on the roster is available. Give us an offer. They would have got a better deal. Then I bet they called him up and went, yeah, we'll give you. We need to get rid of D-Hop. We'll give us the 7th rounder and we're good.
The Cards must have the Texans must have called the Cards, because I don't see a way in the Cards of call up them at the Texans and be like, hey, is D-Hop available? Like, that can't have been the conversation. I saw the conversation must have been Texans were like, hey, we want David Johnson, we'll give you this. Can we have David Johnson and this for D-Hop? If they had opened up the trade to other teams, they would have got so much more back. I swear a team would have given them a 1st rounder and some, because the Bills gave a 1st rounder for Stephon Diggs, which I think both of us feel that it was worth it, but still. Anyway, so 3 games left. I've got 2 more picks. You've got 1 more pick.
Yep.
So I'm now thinking, which game? Okay, I am going to take. I'm trying to think what you would pick. So I think you would pick them. Because I think for all 3 of my picks, you won't have them. That's why I think I'm just overcomplicating in my head. I think the next 3 picks, I don't think you will have. So I'm going to go for the one that I think you are more likely to have. So I'm going to take the Bears over the Lions.
Yeah,
The reason...
Yes, that was exactly the one I was going to pick, the last one. That was my one I was going to pick before I called the audible.
So the reason I let this drop, and it would have dropped a bit more, was something we've spoken about before.
Yeah.
Teams performing after their coach has just been sacked.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened quite a few times already this year. It happened with Bill O'Brien. Texas went on a run. It happened with the Falcons when they fired Quinn. Falcons went on a little run, 2 or 3 game win streak. And now this is the Lions' first game after sacking Pat Patricia. Matt Patricia. I think they could potentially sneak a win. However, I'm still taking the Bears. I do think they're the better overall team. Let's just forget about their offense. I think their defense still hold on. I've spoken on nauseam.
Who's starting? Who's
I
starting?
think I saw that Mitch was injured, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh gosh.
No, not Mitch. Foles is injured, so
Foles
Mitch is
injured, yeah.
starting.
Okay.
I've spoken about what I think of Chicago's QB situation many times before. I'm taking the Bears over the Lions.
Yeah, the Bears would have been my pick. I was gonna call it the one before. Obviously, made a little audible. These two I found a bit more trickier, and I said let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
I've got one game I'm leaning to. However, the pick, I'm pretty sure if I pick this pick, it's going to come back to bite me because of what the other team is able to do. Although they do not have many wins per se,
Yeah.
they have looked good in their losses. As in sections of their team have looked good.
You're warming to this team now. You were not high on this team. You're warming to this team now.
No, because I'm picking the Pats.
Okay, fine. Because I was going to take the Chargers. I was going to take the Chargers anyway.
Yeah. So I can't fight the Chargers. Every time they get close, they do something stupid and give the game up. 100%. Bill Belichick can obviously put them in that position easily. But the Patriots offense still hasn't been playing well. Their defense is playing, I guess, a bit better. But Bill can somehow, if he sneaks in, he can sneak in because his backdoor run to the playoffs is a real thing. And he's pulling it off so far, even though they haven't been playing great.
You know, Bill Belichick's eyes just light up whenever he sees a rookie or a sophomore QB. He's like, oh, this is going to be fun. They have no idea what's coming. They have no idea what's coming their way.
This is definitely more of a Belichick pick than the play that we are going to see on the field.
Yeah, it was. I was watching a bit of that. I was trying to watch a bit of that New England game, and their offense was tough to watch at times. It was really hard to watch. Maybe it just didn't catch the right possessions or the right drives, but it was so hard to watch at times. But I'm pleased Cam is back for the Pats. Hopefully, he'll kick into get a bit more passing the ball. Because he can still run it, but passing looks a little bit off. And I guess part of it is also down to the weapons he has, which is what was said about Tom Brady last year. He didn't have the best weapons, but yeah. So the final pick, we left the final game. Rams, Cards. I mean, I've already got my pick here. Who would you? I'm not just put it here. I'm not going to change it. Who would you have picked?
To be 100% honest with you, I don't know. I really don't know because the Cards have been bouncing up and down. The Cards, when they're both teams are playing well, the Cards is the team I like the look of better. But the Rams have been able to pull it out more often than the Cards have. So I had no clue. That's why I left it.
So both of us really like Cards. One of the main reasons being D-Hop and Kyler Murray. We love both of them. I am biased against the Rams because we have their first round draft pick and I want them to lose. Purely for that reason. I don't rate Jared Goff that much. I think I mentioned to you, he's Baker-esque. I don't see him providing too much extra to the team, how other higher end QBs might do. So I was going to take the Cards. I'm still going to take the Cards with this pick, with the final pick. I'm taking the Cards.
Nice. Yeah, it's not even. I just don't know. I just didn't know how to pick it. I got emotionally attached to the Cards, and they've been hurting me as of late. So,
isn't that just any other emotional relationship?
Toxic. Very toxic.
So those were our Week 13 picks. There were 15 games. The two teams in the bye are the Panthers and the Bucks. Let's just go recap of who we had. Joel has the Viking over the Jags. He's got the Titans over the Browns. He's got the Raiders over the Jets. Then I've got the Dolphins over the Bengals, Saints over the Falcons, Bears over the Lions. You've got the Colts over the Texans. And then for the late games, You've got the Seahawks over the Giants and the Pats over the Chargers. And I've got the Cards over the Rams and the Packers over the Eagles. And then Sunday night football, I've got Chiefs over Broncos. Monday night, I've got Steelers over the Washington football team, and you've got Bills over the 49ers. And Tuesday night, I've got the Ravens over the Cowboys. So those are the 15 games that we've got on the schedule and our picks. How are you feeling about them? I feel okay. Again, as always, every week, just once you get near down the bottom, you're like 50-50. Who do you want?
Just trying not to get screwed over by COVID again. So I'm trying to pick teams that will actually follow the rules and keep their matches alive. And maybe their starters don't go down because they went to the club last week.
You did change your picks. You did, as you said, call quite a few audibles this week compared to other weeks. Is this something new that we're seeing? Are you trying to spice up your offense a little bit? What is this?
No. Normally I kind of go through. I pick my picks, and then you'll pick the team that I would have in the back of my head as the audible in the next pick. So this time I said, why won't a couple of them I was about to pick ones that were late picks. So I was like, let me just get these middle teams, these 50-50 teams, and hopefully they pan out for me instead of wait for you to pick them and then be the winner on the other side anyway.
You're looking at this wrong. I'm thinking 3-4 picks ahead. You're not looking at this right, Joel. You need to look ahead.
You're saying that like I didn't pluck some picks from you.
I mean, that's fine because I always had backups. That's fine. Down.
Here we go. Money down. Big plays. You know, the little bit of fun at the end to put a smile on your face, to get you just thinking about general football, worldwide and in America. Who are you? Third down. Boom. Where we compare our NFL, not superstars, but players in general, to footballers in world football and try and convince the jury, if you will.
I'm not sure if we should open it up to other athletes as well, because there's always some limitations into when you do compare one sport to another. So I think if we compare NFL players to anyone in the world of sports, that'll be quite fun. My comparison this week. So I was watching a little bit of Derrick Henry, and I'm trying to think, who does Derrick Henry remind me of? So what makes Derrick Henry great? He looks like he's a man amongst boys. I'm not sure if you've seen those clips of him in high school in Northern Florida, which still kills me that he's a Northern Florida boy playing against the Jags twice a year. And what he was doing in Alabama, Heisman winner, just running down players. Your boy Ryan Clark saying, "Oh, he only does that against DBs," and blah 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 blah, blah. Showing what you saw the clip, you saw the shit he was spewing, and I thought, who in football is dominant like that? Initially you'd think a striker. Who is someone who's big, physical, dominates defenses, Derrick Henry's rushing you right now, gets so many goals. The obvious thing comparison was maybe someone like Didier Drogba, or old school someone like John Hartson, but that's doing disrespect to Derrick Henry.
I think I've got it. I
don't think you have. Who's someone who is offensively really prolific, can dominate teams, and can show up week in, week out, because Drogba would sometimes take it easy against the smaller teams, but he was there for the big games. And I thought, so I'm going to compare him to a midfielder / attacking midfielder, someone who's retired, not playing anymore. I'm going to pair him to the prime version
of.
Go on.
Yaya Toure.
Yes.
Come on.
That was my comparison. I was thinking, who is someone who's just so physically dominant against defenses, who can go deep, can take it from deep, can drive through defenses, can just be an absolute bully. And I thought, prime Yaya Toure, that year in the Premier League, I think he got 20-odd goals, scoring free kicks, scoring from all over the shop, bullying defenders out the way when he's playing a bit more attacking as a number 10. That is who remind me of Derrick Henry. What he does to defenses is what Yaya Toure used to do to Premier League defenders. That was my comparison.
Yeah, I knew it instantly.
How? Like, what gave it away? What gave it away?
I can't remember. Because, bro, as soon as you said normally you'd think about a striker, I said I flipped it to defender. I was like, no, you've already done that.
No.
So then I was like, you're going to go midfield, and then it's going to be him. Then he said it, and I was like, yeah. Then he said,
Because
oh yeah, I'm going to go midfield. And I said, boom, it has to be him. And he said, compare it to the week in, week out, and then he said, prime version of him, solidified it. It's had to be.
you could have said other central midfielders, but I just felt Yaya Toure had that attacking, had that goals contribution, goals return, where he was vital in that City team that won the league that year with Mancini. And there isn't anyone else in world football right now that maybe reminds me of him. Maybe to a lesser extent, Milinkovic Savic at Lazio, who isn't necessarily that quality yet. Someone again, big, physical, dominant, playing in a bit more of a further attacking position. Maybe there's someone completely skipping my mind. A bit of a Decore, but obviously Decore isn't on that level. Decore went at Watford, maybe Musa Sissoko, but he plays again a bit deeper. I couldn't think of those big bruising number 10s because you don't necessarily have those. So that was the comparison I made. I felt Derrick Henry, who's so unique as a player, as an athlete, the size he is against other players, I felt Yaya Toure matched that in terms of his unique size and goal return, where Derrick Henry's got those touchdown returns and makes those long runs. Yaya Toure can smack the ball, make those long runs in midfield. So that's my comparison.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. My one is a stretch.
Let's hear it.
Especially because let's say this person is pretty early in their career. However, their football counterpart is, let's say, towards the end of their career.
Yeah.
That's a hint. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Patty Mahomes.
Oh, I've already made that comparison.
Yeah. Well, this one.
I've already made a Patrick Mahomes comparison.
Yeah. So I'm going to go magic touch. As they were coming through the ranks, people could see sparks of brilliance, but they always thought they were a project because something else was holding them back. Not necessarily viewed by the masses as was going to be amazing or was going to be the GOAT. Obviously, Pat Mahomes ain't there yet because he's still pretty young.
Yeah.
But there was something about them or their play held them back in terms of being like the golden child youngster coming through. However, they did get starts pretty early into their career. Obviously, the kind of NFL farming system forces you to be of a certain age, so it's not like football where you could start like at 12 really if you want to play a game, if you're good enough to play first team. But yeah, so there's like, so you're thinking those kind of things, those kind of things going on. They're both like pretty young. At least Pat Mahomes was through injury. Was it for injury? No, at one point they turned around and said, yeah, you have to, you've got the keys.
Yeah.
And then they shipped out Alex Smith.
I remember being on the train from Hearts, from uni, going back to London and seeing that on my updates and thinking, what? Alex Smith has been traded. What does that mean? And then that's when.
Now, see, I didn't understand why people were so low on Pat Mahomes because I saw him at Texas Tech. I saw some of them games, and especially in the draft and all that, he was doing sick stuff. And I don't know why, because I didn't watch like all the games, but I saw some good games.
Do you remember who the coach was?
Who was coach?
Yeah.
No, it's Air Raid.
Cliff Kingsbury.
There we go. Yep, because he wanted Kyler, which is funny enough, roughly the same time, or just a bit after. But so that was happening. They're going, air raid offense because he did this. He's not able to blah 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 and blah 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 and blah blah blah. It doesn't work into NFL systems.
Okay.
However, he was able to make all the throws. He went toe to toe with Baker. When Baker was doing his bits, and I think it was a great game. He ended up losing, but because of that, he dropped down on draft boards. He was number 10 on a kind of a stack draft. What's the one ahead of him? And then was it Wentz and Goff?
No, that was before it was Trubisky.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That one I don't understand why Mitch got there. So he's been overlooked.
How could you forget that? They talk about it every single Trubisky game. They talk about it every single Bears game. I've
forgotten Mitch Trubisky is still an NFL quarterback, especially as he came out of Duke. So I don't know how that made sense. Apart from, So, any clues?
He didn't come
Probably
from.
not.
No, Mitch Trubisky came from North Carolina. Daniel Jones came from
Swear he
Duke.
can do-
Daniel
They both
Jones came
suck.
from Duke.
Both basketball teams.
Yeah, I see the confusion there. I see the confusion. I was going to say they're both basketball teams. Yeah. I think you're trying to go for one of the goats or one of the soon goats. So could either be Messi, Ronaldo, or unless you're going for the Lewandowski route. It's one of them three, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to say it's Ronaldo?
No.
Oh, fuck. Lewandowski.
No.
Oh,
Wrong.
fuck.
It's
Yeah,
Messi, big man. Naturally gifted, can do everything, but was still overlooked. Messi was overlooked because he was small.
But that's at different times. Messi was overlooked when he was 8, 9 years old.
No, they put him on flipping growth hormones.
That was when he was
the
8,
farms,
9 years old. That wasn't
yes,
when
but
he was.
Pat Mahomes was overlooked all the way up until literally when he became an NFL player because they wanted him to play baseball.
Mahomes was still a top 50. He was a
They
lottery pick.
they
I'm not
wanted
having that
him.
comparison. I'm not
They
having that
wanted
comparison.
him to play baseball. What Messi wasn't disputed. They just didn't rate him because of his size. They thought he was great.
That
It's
was
like
when he was
they wanted him
10.
bigger.
That was when he was still a schoolboy.
No one was down on him as
Oh.
much as they were down on Pat. All I'm saying is they were both looked over for certain things physically or in the system they were in, and they came back. Like I said, it's a bit tentative, a bit weak, but it's there.
That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it, Chief.
It's there, and I think you're hating.
Definitely not. The reason why Barcelona
And they're going to be the goats.
The reason why Barcelona got rid of Ronaldinho was Pep didn't want Ronaldinho's influence on Messi with his off-the-field antics.
Yeah.
Messi was always going to be that boy. When he was wearing, I think it was at that time he was wearing, I don't know if he had the number 10 jersey, but I think he might have had number 19 when he ran through the Villarreal team, almost rest in peace, Diego Maradona-esque against England in the World Cup. That sort of solidified, okay, this kid is definitely the next best youngster. Like everyone in La Masia knew Messi.
They waited until they were playing first team football on the big stage. Thank you.
Everyone knew even before then Messi was the guy.
Not everyone knew.
Yes, they did. Messi was like, oh shit, this kid, watch out for this kid. I get what you're saying in terms of where they are in their careers, because Messi, when he did come into the Barcelona team, he had all these amazing players in and around him, which they were able to do so much with. Mahomes was in a similar situation where he came into a team with all these weapons around him. Now, where Messi is struggling right now in his career is his team has not built a team around him. His club have not built a sufficient team around him.
Yeah.
Since they sold Neymar, their best signing has been Ter Stegen, Frankie de Jong, Griezmann flops, Dembele's flopping or flops. Coutinho, they had to get rid of him. He won Champions League somewhere else before he came back.
Yeah.
Their signings have not been good since Xavi, Iniesta, and all these other players have left. We'll see now what happens with Mahomes because he's got a big contract.
They can't keep paying everyone. That's all we know.
What happens 3, 4 years, 5 years when maybe Kelsey starts to break down or Tyreek Hill starts to break down? They did bring in Miko Hardman. Can he have a similar effect to what Tyreek is having? We'll see. So in that aspect of the career, we'll see what happens with Mahomes as things go on. How long will Andy Reid coach for? Probably love to coach another 5 to 10 years, but how will that happen?
Yep.
But yeah.
So there you go. See,
that's our third down.
Matches, and you said that's not it, Chief. I'm not having it.
Yeah, I still feel my comparison of Mbappe and Mahomes is better, but yeah. Yes, it is.
Now you're only saying this because of the stages in the career. Once Patty gets older, thank you, because they can't keep this team forever. That's all we know. They're finding ways to pay them now, but they are not finding ways to pay them. Oh, also they both signed historical contracts at the time. But anyway,
that's a big L for you, G. But anyway,
big win.
Anyway, that's our third down. So let us know who you think reminds you of Patrick Mahomes and Derrick Henry. Let's just say from the world of sport. You can talk about football. You can have a nice chat about football. But
talk
in the world
about
of sport,
swimmers. Why not?
Yeah, Michael Phelps, isn't it? Tommy B is the Michael Phelps.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, yes. So that's Third and Atlantic for this week. Week 13 in the NFL. But just once again, just to reiterate, we are recording this before the Steelers and Ravens, so we do not know who's injured or who's got COVID in the next 2 days. Because that seems now we need a disclaimer every time that in the next 2 days a whole team can be wiped out by a COVID test. So yes, that's Third and Atlantic. We are your boys.
Let's go, baby.
Top winners. Hopefully, I'll come back. Let's see you next time.
Adios. Peace.